Good evening, namaste, or adab. Welcome to our Meet the Author session. And today we are going to meet Lily Swarn ma'am, who is well known for her strong feminine voice in contemporary English Indian writing, her flair for language, and her quill that has the capacity to influence and mesmerize all the readers the moment they pick up her work or her books. Let me tell you something more about her, though the list is really, really long of her achievements, of her accomplishments, but let's try it out. So here it is. She is an International Beat Poet Laureate, India 2023-24, and Caesar Vallejo Award for Literary Excellence by UHE. Lily Swarn ma'am is internationally acclaimed. She is being awarded in many international and national forums. She is a multilingual poet, author, columnist, gold medalist, university color holder, radio show host, peace and humanity ambassador. She writes in different genres. History on My Plate, her book, won the Best Author Award. Rippling Moonbeams, another book of hers, got Chandigarh Sahitya Akademi Award for the Best Book of the Year. Her poetry has been translated into 21 languages. She has authored 8 books, including A Trellis of Ecstasy, Lilies of the Valley, The Gypsy Trail, Ye Nathi Hamaari Qismat, A Passionate Affair with Trees, and many more. And today, we are in conversation with her to talk about her writing journey and the journey of 2 of her books. Lily ma'am, thank you so much for being here. And let's start with the basics. Who is Lily Swarn ma'am and what is her writing journey? And we are back, and I'm extremely sorry for this power cut. It was not in our hands. Sorry for the inconvenience. And let me talk and bring Lily ma'am and continue this conversation. Welcome, Lily ma'am. Thank you so much for being there, waiting for us, being so patient. And I'm extremely sorry for this technical error.
That's what happens. It's okay. We are now their slaves, aren't we? Thank you very much, Shweta Malhotra, for having me on Story Scrapers. It's an honor. And I'm so grateful for the wonderful things that you said. And a warm hello to everybody who's watching the show, and happy Friendships Day.
Yes, that's right. It's a friendship day, and I think today we are going to create a bond which is going to be there, nurtured by everyone over here forever, for all the times to come.
Thank you.
So, Lily ma'am, you have achieved so much in life, and you're still so humble, so down to earth. Whenever someone meets you, we always have that refreshing thing, refreshing, the breeze which blows when we meet you, when we talk to you. So it's really wonderful to talk to you, and we have so many questions to ask you, because when we see the achievement, we can see the hard work also, which has been there behind all those achievements. So let's start with that. And you have written in so many languages. So I want to know that, being a multilingual writer, what was an early experience where you learned that language really has power?
Thank you for that question and for all the nice things we're going to be talking about today. So, Shweta, all of us who live, in this part of the world, we are bound to be, multilingual at home. See, I'm a born Punjabi, I'm born in a Sikh family. So I hear the Punjabi from across the border, from where my ancestors came, the Mithi Mithi. I learned the Punjabi, which I hear here. I would say my first interaction was with the folk songs of Punjab. I would hear them on All India Radio Jalandhar. My mother would hum them. My granny would hum them. So Punjabi and its fascination started from there. And then English, because when you study in a convent school, you're bound to be
Right.
mesmerized by Shakespeare and his soliloquies. And I used to love Franz Roman's Countrymen, Lend Me Your Ears. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him, or Macbeth. And I would always want to recite an extract from there. And then, of course, my father taught me a lot of Urdu by rote. तो उर्दू का जो वो आवाज कान में जब पड़ती थी, तो एक उसका एक अलग ही मधोशी होती थी, एक उसकी एक लज्जत है, इट काइंड ऑफ
मिठास
मेक्स।
उसमें एक अलग अलग सी मिठास है।
जी। और हिंदी मैंने पढ़ी, मुझे हिंदी का शौक था, हिंदी का साहित्य, प्रेमचंद से बहुत मुझे प्रेम है। सो इस तरह आई रियलाइज दैट even psychology tells you that the fields of knowledge have suggested that the power of language goes beyond emotion. It
Yes.
actually helps you perceive, it impacts your perception of things, मतलब 7,000 से ज्यादा languages हैं दुनिया में। But, even Chomsky used to say that the modern linguistics will teach you that धीरे धीरे करके वो जा रही हैं. We are not able to cling on to them, so we,
Right.
we need to we need to be aware of the wealth of history that they bring along, the traditions. So that is why I write multilingually. मुझे लगता है हर लैंग्वेज के साथ एक उसका अलग एक ट्रेडिशन आता है, एक पूरी उसके साथ एक एक पूरा वजूद अलग होता है जो जुड़ा होता है हर लैंग्वेज के साथ, उसके मेटाफर्स, उसकी प्रोवर्ब्स। तो मैं इसलिए एक्सप्लोर करती हूँ क्योंकि आई थिंक इन ऑल लैंग्वेजेस।
That's
या
wonderful. That's actually, the valid reason to cling to the languages and to know the power of them, that how
जी
they connect with so many, spheres of life and with so many people.
या
So, and ma'am, you have written poetry in so many languages. So when you write poetry, do you really feel that there are some do's and don'ts to write it?
You know what? To be honest, I'm a free soul. I'm a free bird. So when you grow up in a restricted North Indian Punjabi household, you tend to be in a patriarchal system.
Yeah.
I'm talking, honestly. So what
Hmm.
happens is तुम थोड़े से regressed तो रहते ही हो. You are not really, ਏਦਾਂ ਨਾ ਕਰ, ਇਹ ਨਾ ਪਾ, ਇੱਥੇ ਨਾ ਬੈਠ, ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਨਾ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ. You grew up hearing that.
Yeah.
Even if you are born into the 21st century, you're educated, I was teaching English in a college, but I still had my lists of do's and don'ts which I followed, and sometimes with happiness, sometimes not so much. तो उससे
Right.
क्या होता है, जो टूल्स होते हैं ना पोइट्री के, मुझे लगता है कि anybody who's a poet is just writing his heart out. तो जब मुझे पोइट्री कंपटीशन जज करने के लिए कहते हैं ना, आई काइंड ऑफ twiddle my thumbs and I think and I feel a little worried, how am I judging this person for, whatever has come like so beautifully from the innermost caverns of his heart. You know what I mean,
Yeah,
Shweta?
yeah, yeah.
So I do believe कुछ चीजें हैं जो हम गलतियां करते हैं जो नहीं करनी चाहिए, like we try and use archaic language. दाऊ दी हम बड़ा बोलते हैं, ओ दाऊ, हम सोचते हैं कि शेक्सपियर के जमाने में we don't speak like that, we don't think like that, so why do we
Right.
write like that? And then I also feel that we try and we use inverted syntax. हम सोचते हैं शायद वो पोइट्री है, मुझे नहीं
Mm-hmm.
लगता वो है, आपको लगता होगा, उसको लगता होगा, किसी और को लगता होगा कि मेरी द बॉल कॉट, उसको लगा भी राइम हो गया तो ये लग रहा है कि पोइट्री बन गई है. मेरी द बुके कॉट, नहीं, मेरी कॉट द बुके, इफ इट्स फॉलोइंग इन लो यू डोंट हैव टू डू इट. You don't have to
Yes.
invert the syntax to make it poetic. There is nothing so called which is typically ये poetry होती है, ऐसा नहीं है. Especially in this era of free verse, and especially in the era when we're writing haikus and we're writing little halibans, we're writing different stuff to fit into our social media, our Instagrams and all of that. I'm still from another era, I'm a bygone, quite archaic myself, but I do feel कि इतनी जरूरत नहीं है. फिर दूसरा क्या है, वी ओवर डू द फिगर्स ऑफ स्पीच. हमको लगता है कि मेटाफर है तो बहुत मेटाफर, सिमिली है तो ओ कम ऑन, गिव इट अ ब्रेक. यू डोंट नीड अ सिमिली इन एवरी लाइन. यू डोंट गिव आई मीन दिस इज व्हाट I feel. You asked me, so I'm saying that. I might annoy a few people, but we tend to abuse them. कोई जरूरत नहीं होती है इतना ज्यादा मतलब बोलने की, ये सब चीजें. So these are the little things. And my do, if you're asking me, the do along with the don't, the do definitely is अगर आप कोई चीज को बहुत गहराई से जानते हैं ना तो उसके बारे में लिखो. Don't show off vocabulary. Don't sound pompous and write for effect. If you're writing to reach a heart, you don't need to create an impact and an effect. If you write simple, आप कोई भी, अब जैसे मैं उर्दू की गजल लिखी है, मुझे कहा जाता है कि आप सिंपल भाषा में लिखिए, तो इसीलिए हमारे साथ कनेक्ट है उसका. अगर मैं
Connect.
सोचती तो मैं बताऊं कि
Exactly.
क्या
I couldn't
आया.
agree more than that. That the simple the language is, the more it has the connectivity with the readers.
बस मेरा डू यही है कि दिल को छूना है. If you want to reach a heart, a piece of poetry should have recall value.
Right.
So there is a gentleman called Venkat Ramani. He's he's a critic and he's a professor, and he was heading the education department. Lives in Jaipur now. He always tells me, "Ma'am, there is something Lily-esque about what you write." I was a little amused. मैंने कहा, यार, it sounds very it sounds very typical. He says, आप ध्यान से सोचें तो पता चलना चाहिए कि ये किसका लिखा हुआ है. So that
Yeah.
is a positive in poetry. It should have your stamp, your unique stamp. You don't have to show the world कि मैं ऐसा लिखती हूँ, ऐसा लिखती हूँ.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I agree to that. And you have also written in so many genres. Your books are of, the topics that you have chosen for your books are diverse in their nature. They are there's so much of variations in them. So how do you pick up the topic, and what is your take on these different genres that you write about?
Thank you for that question. Yeah, it means much to me because मुझे लगता है कि जरूरी नहीं कि एक पोएट सिर्फ पोएट ही हो सकता है कोई पोएट हो सिर्फ वो और कुछ ना लिखना हो. But I want to write prose, so I write essays. I have a novel or a story in my mind, I write a book. So that's how Lilies of the Valley, my book of essays, came about. The Gypsy Trail is loosely based on my life as an army wife, so that has a lot of stuff which I want to tell people, the remote corners of the country, the cantonments, the wonderful bazaars, which nobody else would see, which I have seen,
Right.
the mountains, the deserts, I want to share with the world. So that shaped into a novel, The Gypsy Trail, this one, and this is the one I was telling you about. And Lilies of the Valley is the one which you told me about, essays. So these are,
Yeah.
little things I feel strongly about. इसी तरह जो food की किताब है जिसे बहुत प्यार मिला, it had probably been in me forever. जब से बंदा खाना शुरू करता ना, वो सोचता है कि यार ये कहाँ से आया होगा, किसने ढूंढा होगा कि इस तरह बनाने से ये स्वाद हो जाएगा. So this is the one which is called history on my plate. जी, but it has recipes also, each chapter 45 food items. तो इस तरह मुझे मजा आता है. अलग अलग चीजों के बारे में लिखने में और अलग अलग जॉनर्स में और अलग अलग भाषा में भी ये बात तो है.
That's
It's
wonderful.
just having fun. If you have fun with what you're doing, I hope it reaches people, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the moment, like you just mentioned about the Gypsy Trail, that you wanted to tell about the each and every unexplored corner of the places, of different places that you wanted to share with others. Has there been any moment in poetry when you thought that this particular poem or this emotion, you didn't want to share it with anyone, that was too intimate, too personal to you, and you felt like not sharing it with anyone?
I love that. You know what, Shweta? अभी भी मैं बड़ी prudish हूँ लिखने में. मतलब it's not a good thing. I self censor myself. I hold back my pen when I want to say something. Is there a fine line between being seductive and sensuous and sensual and being overtly sexual? मुझे थोड़ा डर लगता है, लगना नहीं चाहिए. मतलब लिखो, as long as it's not vulgar and obscene, आप लिखें.
Absolutely.
But है prudish, थोड़ा सा रह गया कसर. अभी I have to work on it. But you know what? The question you asked, yes, I did not share the poetry I wrote as a teenager. It still is lying in some diary somewhere. मुझे शर्मिंदगी सी होती है. It's, एक छोटा सा दिल है, there's a crush and you think it's love and you're writing hiding, beneath staircases, you're writing on terraces, you're writing midnight and you're writing surreptitiously. तो वो मेरी अभी भी छुपी रह गई है. मतलब वो नरम सा दिल था, मुझे वो पढ़ के उस पे रहम सा आता है उस दिल पे कि वो कैसा था. So that is that is still not, I'm still not sharing that poetry, though it's very close to my now thicker and harder dil.
Right. But I think many of us would, of course, connect very easily to that because we all have gone through those phases, those stages of our life, and we all had crushes. Not to deny that at all.
हाँ, हाँ.
So we all had been, seen all those things and been through that.
तो
So
श्वेता,
I think
हाँ.
I think that would be a
Because I
very.
just wanted to add that I used to edit the college magazine in GCG 11. तो उसमें जो है, I quite like what I wrote then and I recited in youth festivals. I'm happy with that. Maybe I thought that I'm सियानी हो गई हूँ मैं थोड़ी. And then then the English department in Punjab University, that poetry too is close to my heart. It talks about student life, and that is okay. I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll wait for that also to be out someday. All those poems that you have written during that time, we'll
Okay.
wait for
Okay.
that.
Thank you.
There are so many comments which are coming all the way, and Shivali Dikshit Saxena is saying that she really loves all the titles of your books, and she's saying that creativity can't be bound within rules. Very rightly said, Lily ma'am. She totally agrees with you on
Thank
that.
you. Thank
And
you, Shivali.
Ramanpreet Kaur, I think she is listening to you after a long time, and she's really happy to see you and to listen to you on this show. So she's
Good.
saying that I'm listening to you, and I'm really, really very happy today to hear you out.
Thank you. Thank you for liking my, the titles of the book, Shivali and Ramanpreet. I love the fact that you're connecting and hearing. Thank you so much. God bless.
And ma'am, like we were talking about poetry, so are there some common misconceptions about the poets or poetry that you have also encountered throughout the life?
Yes, I have. लोगों को ना, they have a typical notion of what a poet should be. कि वो एक रोंदू सा बंदा होगा, दाढ़ी होगी, आंखें लाल होंगी और सिगरेटें फूकता होगा एक के बाद एक. All right, that is true. Those are poets too. And good poetry, I believe, has come from some kind of substance high also. I don't deny that. लोगों को होता है. उसी समय वो बढ़िया लिखते हैं. That's true. But but that's not, you can't generalize everybody, that everybody is you're going to be speaking like writing because, a poet, and poetry doesn't have to be so typical कि वो rhyme ही होनी चाहिए, उसमें ये सब ही होना चाहिए. मतलब there is poetry people think is for sissies, कि वो बड़े oversensitive से लोग होंगे, but no, poetry has been written about very serious topics. Poetry has been a game changer in the world politics.
Yes, yes.
Poetry has been spoken from such, क्या कहते हैं, ऐसे ऐसे जगह से बोली गई है. It has changed the mindset of people. It is such a powerful tool. So
Right.
poets को underestimate ना करो, ना poet को underestimate करो. I mean, poets, they are masters of their genre. They are doing yeoman service. People, only thing is, we tend to brush it aside as वो तो शायर है, उसकी क्या बात है, शायर बड़ी
Yeah.
गंभीर बात करता है. And we know that if something is being quoted till date, there has to be something in it. If Allama Iqbal's songs are being recited in international fora, when your prime minister goes to another country and you are greeted by Iqbal's shairi over there, the song is being sung, right? There has to be some reason for it. When we are talking day to day and we drop a share, there is a reason for it. Why do we
Right.
talk of frost and why do we talk of the woods being silent? All that. You cannot ignore the fact that poets are not just typically, long-haired creatures with a jhola. That's not who they are. They are important peoples in the social fabric, and I doff my hat and cap to all of them.
That's wonderful, ma'am. And as you said, that poetry is about so many other things also. It's not just, constrained or restricted to just one particular emotion. There are so many other things that one can describe in poetry. So, your book, A Passionate Affair with Trees, talks about so many other things, so many trees, about the forest, about the animals, about the flora, fauna, and so many other things. So, we really want to know more about your poems there in that book, and would be really great if you can read out one of them.
That's so sweet of you. This is actually my third anthology of poetry. The first, A Trellis of Ecstasy, was the closest to my heart because it was the first. Pehla Ishq Mohabbati
Right.
Se. And it, of course, got me a lot of recognition internationally and many, many awards. The second was Rippling Moonbeams, which, as you mentioned, got me the Sahitya Academy Award from Chandigarh. And it has
Ji.
been translated recently into Telugu. I find that very sweet because मुझे तो पढ़नी नहीं आती तेलुगु, है ना?
That's wonderful.
It's been recognized recently, and besides, of course, many other So I could read out a little, if you say, maybe मैं ढूंढती हूँ कोई मुझे याद आती है कोई something from, okay, a little one called Amaltas. Amaltas, as you know, is one of the most happy looking trees on Chandigarh streets also.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
motto
A
of that.
treat to the eyes. Actually, it's a treat for the eyes.
Yeah, so it's summer, hot summer, so much sun, but still the golden yellow of Amaltas is appealing, है ना?
Yeah.
तो छोटा सा एक poem पढ़ती हूँ मैं. Showers of gold, tumbling helter-skelter, over your heart into mine. Blossoms of golden luster, coruscating my entire being with your incandescent glow. A bountiful harvest of sunshine radiating from the golden orb onto my Amalta's starved soul. Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, ma'am. So we really want to know how this affair with the trees, how this started, how and when it started.
बहुत छोटी उम्र में मेरे स्कूल कामल कॉन्वेंट के बाद there used to be a red silk cotton का पेड़. वो सिंबल का फूल होता है ना, बड़ा सा दरख्त, बड़ा
जी,
बड़ा,
जी.
big petaled and a huge flower. So when I used to walk home from school from sector 9 to 8 where my parents lived and I grew up, तो plop plop करके गिरते थे वो, the red silk cotton flowers. They had big sepals, big petals and very showy flowers. But since they grew so high, you could only see them when they fell to the ground. तो मेरा उसके साथ वो जो एक प्यार तो मेरे से हो ही गया था पेड़ों से. So I grew up in a city which is full of the most ornamental and floral trees in the world. Every avenue has different trees, right? So वहाँ से शुरू हुआ. फिर when my travels abroad, when I visited my daughter all across the US, तो मुझे वहाँ California में वो lone pine, वो cypress जो था, Then, of course, all the maple birches which grew in, our backyards over there. And of course, the autumn colors. A lot of, poetry is from there. The jacaranda जो हमारे mauve कलर का उगता है उसके बारे में मैंने लिखा है वो मैं आपको सुनाती हूँ थोड़ा सा. It's called Showstopper, jacaranda.
Okay.
It posed tad self-consciously in the lonely, brooding cul-de-sac. This regally attired jacaranda tree. It stood way above the mauve-clad friends that lined the manicured avenue. The profusion of bell-shaped blooms, a canopy of violet and blues, clusters of fragrant purple, panicle shapes representing good fortune, wisdom, wealth, lush lilac, lissome lavender umbrellas, soothing and fondling away growing, threatening April heat. A hush descended on the summer siesta of a drowsy Chandigarh afternoon. The music reached a crescendo on the catwalks of nature. Thank you.
That's lovely, ma'am. How beautifully and intricately you have observed it and written about it. Very
Thank
nice.
you. Thank you.
That's really lovely. And we have a question also here from the audience.
Yes.
Gurmeet Singh ji, he's saying that he would love to read your poetry of early years. See, we have one more vote. So, and he also says that do you feel the evolution of a poet is forever, or is it triggered by events of life, or just a slow climate change?
That's very interesting, Gurmeet ji. I'm happy to see you here. Gurmeet ji critiques my work, and his reviews are very well appreciated all over. So I'm going to share some of my poetry with you if you want to hear it right now. Nahi, alag
Please.
se. But yes, A Trellis of Ecstasy has some of those marvels too, which I personally like.
Okay.
But yes, about evolution, when you ask Gurmeet ji, yes, a poet is always evolving. Definitely circumstantially, you are affected. My early poetry was grief stricken. It was, it was bubbling like a cauldron of grief because it came from a place of grief. Of course, it was supposed to be one of my best works. But when I wrote Rippling Moonbeams, I had evolved into a different human being, and that's the one that got, more recognition closer home.
Yeah.
And right now, since I'm still, talking about my next book, which is in publishing now, is called The Divine Dialect of Flowers. So that is
Okay.
again a lot of my nature poetry. I have evolved as a human because I keep collecting my, thoughts and emotions about a certain thing, and that takes the form of verse. I hope I answered that correctly.
Very well, ma'am. I think that's the accurate, nothing can be more accurate than this answer that you have just, given to us.
Thank
And
you.
when you are writing a poem, so when and how do you come to know that it's the closure, that the poem has ended here now and now, it's done. So how do you
No,
come to
actually,
that?
every poet knows, I think. It's instinctive. You immediately know कि इससे ज़्यादा मेरे को और कुछ बोलना नहीं है. मेरा यही important चीज़ था. So
Right.
what is actually the condensed purity of aromatic fluid that has flown in verse, that aroma has come out. अब इससे ज़्यादा too much हो जाएगा. So you know, I'm done now. And the poem has taken its shape along with your thoughts and emotions. It has created, you know what, Shweta? Poetry has a way of making its own way,
Way, yeah.
like a meandering river, and then it has to go meet the sea. You cannot give it. You think you are giving it direction. वो होता नहीं है तुम्हारे बस में.
Absolutely.
The words want to be written. The words fight to be written. They ask you, they badger you, they batter you कि लिखो मुझे. और जब उनका काम हो जाता है वो चले जाते हैं. That is why हर कोई नहीं लिख पाता कविता क्योंकि उसके पास वो आया नहीं है वो इल्हाम आता है. I know, I think all of us will agree that when you go back to edit, you are not really doing justice मतलब ग्रामर ठीक कर रहे हो, मे बी आप कुछ
Yeah,
अपना
and editing takes
लव्स
place
बेटर कर
somewhere
रहे
in the end. Editing does take place somewhere in the end. Like you want to, reshape it a little bit, but you can't take out the essence. You can't take away the essence. Sorry,
That
you
is
can't
why
take away
I
the essence.
avoid editing. Yes, you're right. Because मुझे लगता है जो बात मैं कहना चाह रही हूँ वो कम हो जाएगी. You know, it will become like दाल में पानी डाल देता है ना, कोई आ जाता है एक्स्ट्रा बंदा तो यार दाल कम हो जाएगी. Let's add some water to it. We are trying to temper it with something which we really didn't want to do
Yes.
initially. The initial, act is what is important. That is the real poem. उसको तुम खराब मत करो, ज्यादा उसको ड्रामेबाजी में संवारो मत. आप संवार नहीं रहे हो उसको, आप पंगे ले रहे हो उसके साथ.
Absolutely, very well said, ma'am. And it happened with me also once. Like I shared one of my poems with somebody, and the response I got was that you could, add something more to it. And I was like, I have written and I have expressed all the emotions which were there in my mind. What else can I add more to it? सब कुछ तो
That's
मैंने
not
लिख दिया,
poetry.
सब
That's
कुछ
not poetry. I'm glad
मैंने
you
कर
didn't
दिया.
listen to her. Or him.
या सो आई वाज लाइक कि नहीं और इसमें कुछ नहीं हो सकता. इट्स द एंड. इससे ज्यादा मैं नहीं, इसको खींच नहीं सकते आप. यू कांट. पोएट्री इज नॉट अ रबर बैंड दैट यू विल कीप ऑन स्ट्रेचिंग इट. इट्स एन इमोशन, फ्लो ऑफ इमोशन. जो हो गया तो वहां पर खत्म हो गया बस. इसके बियॉन्ड इट कांट मूव, इट कांट गो फर्दर दैट. So ma'am, how come like from prose to poetry and then ghazals? So how, and when did it start? गजल्स आपने कब लिखी, कैसे लिखी, किस फीलिंग के साथ लिखी, क्या सोच के उस टाइम पे लिखी, और कितना टाइम लगा आपको बुक कंपाइल करने में?
श्वेता, जैसे मैंने आपको पहले भी कहा, मुझे उर्दू के साथ एक मेरी उनसियत, एक बहुत लगाव था, एक बहुत फैसिनेशन थी. मतलब जुनून की हद तक मोहब्बत थी मुझे. वो उसके लव्स जो थे ना, वो मुझे दे यूज्ड टू वर्क लाइक कभी मरहम की तरह, कभी सुरूर आता था मुझे. सो उर्दू फॉर मी वाज द परफेक्ट लैंग्वेज फॉर अ लवर. मतलब
Right.
अगर आप इश्क करना है तो आप उर्दू में कीजिए, और अगर आपने मतलब आशिकी कुछ समझना है तो आप उर्दू पढ़िए, समझिए. सो ऑफ कोर्स अ लॉट ऑफ इट केम फ्रॉम सम सूफी. माय फादर यूज्ड टू मेक मी लिसन टू कवालीज. लाइक आई टोल्ड यू, ही ग्रू अप इन अक्रॉस द बॉर्डर. वो मैट्रिक में थे जब पाकिस्तान बना, तो उन्होंने मुझे बाय हार्ट, बाय रोट बहुत बड़े बड़े मकबूल शायरों की शायरी याद करा दी थी. तो वो
Right.
सब, I grew up listening to the best of poets from Urdu. And like I told all of my friends, and I say it again and again because I'm immensely honored that I had the good fortune to meet Faiz Ahmed Faiz Saab. One of,
It's like,
yes,
yeah.
when I was very young, when I was still a student editor of my college magazine. And the Kennett College से लाहौर से जो चंपा मंगत राय थी, वो हमारी वाइस प्रिंसिपल थी, और उनके वो बड़े अच्छे मित्र थे फैज. तो उनके यहाँ आके वो ठहरे in our
जी.
college premises, in our house. So that's how, when he started talking to me, I was totally, sure that I wanted to write sometime in this language. I started composing self-composed poetry in Hindustani and reciting it in youth festivals and getting awarded. So that was a big nasha. वो नशा तब से लग गया था, मेरे खून में
जी.
आ गया था. तो लिखने लगी 2019 से. मैं नज़में लिखती थी बहुत सालों से, नज़में इकट्ठी होती थी. लेकिन सईद अलवी साहब ने जब एक दफ़ा पढ़ा, वो सूफी स्कॉलर हैं, मेरी एक नज़म, तो उन्होंने मुझे मैसेज किया और कहा कि लिली साहिबा, आपको तो गज़ल सीखनी चाहिए और गज़ल में कहनी चाहिए. That was a little shocking because it's a tough, form. It's a tough genre. मैंने कहा मुझे तो आती नहीं है. तो he told me कि आप गुनगुनाएं, तो जब गुनगुना के ना आप सीख जाएंगे कि मीटर क्या है. मुझे तो बहर की भी कोई समझ नहीं थी, किसी चीज़ का इल्म नहीं था. तो मैंने खुद सीखा, कुछ समझा, गुनगुनाया. I used to go like a crazy woman cooking in the house, गाने गाते गाते. तो ऐसे करने से वो 19 में जाके इकट्ठी होने लगी धीरे धीरे, और वो इतनी सारी हो गई कि मुझे एक किताब बनाने का मौका मिला. I was so fortunate that it happened, a dream come true. इसका नाम लेना चाहिए हमारी किस्मत है. और ये गालिब का बहुत फेमस शेर है, ये ना थी हमारी किस्मत के विसाल यार होता, अगर और जीते रहते यही इंतजार होता। तो ये वो उसके ऊपर है, मुझे प्यार
और
मिला।
ये हमारी खुशकिस्मती कि आप आए हैं और अपनी बुक लेके आए, तो हम आपको ऐसे तो नहीं जाने देंगे बिना कोई गजल सुने हुए।
जी
सो वी
जी,
रियली वांट कि आप एक गजल तो जरूर गुनगुनाइए हमारे लिए।
मैं पढ़ के सुनाती हूँ। दो चार हैं जो ज़्यादा आपको मैं बताती चलूँ कि पाकिस्तान में कराची में गाई जाती हैं, लाहौर में पब्लिश होती हैं, और यहाँ पे मुसाफिर साहब की बहुत मधुर आवाज़ में भी गाई गई हैं। मुझे बहुत it's something so, it's like bliss, to
या
hear your words sung in a sweet voice. It's like Sone Pe Suhaga, literally.
जी
At the
जी
at the at the risk of sounding cliched, which no poet should sound. It is definitely not something a poet should sound. फिर भी मैं आपको सुनाती हूँ।
जी
आपको वाह वाह करना होगा,
बिल्कुल
है
जी
ना?
बिल्कुल।
तो इरशाद भी कह दे।
अच्छा,
जी, तो ये है, मतलब हाजिर है कि शाद मानी मेरी जबी पर है, शाद मानी मेरी जबी पर है, उसकी खुशबू यहीं कहीं पर है, उसकी
वाह,
खुशबू यहीं कहीं पर है। शुक्रिया। शेर हाजिर
क्या
करती हूँ। आज गुलशन में ये हुआ ऐलान, आज गुलशन में ये हुआ ऐलान, हूर सी कोई इस जमीन पर है,
वाह,
हूर सी कोई इस जमीन पर है। शुक्रिया। आपके लिए खास तौर पे पेश खिदमत है श्वेता जी, कि कत्ल करके कहाँ छुपोगे तुम, कत्ल करके कहाँ छुपोगे तुम, खून तो मेरा आस्तीन पर है,
वाह, वाह,
खून
वाह।
तो मेरा आस्तीन पर है। मेहरबानी। तुम कभी भी गुमान मत करना, तुम कभी भी गुमान मत करना, सारी दुनिया टिकी यकीन पर है,
क्या बात है।
सारी दुनिया टिकी यकीन पर है, और शादमानी मेरी जबी पर है, उसकी खुशबू यहीं कहीं पर है। शेर अर्ज कर रही हूँ, आखिरी दो शेर हैं।
जी इरशाद।
चाहे जितना कोई करे मिन्नत, चाहे जितना कोई करे मिन्नत, साथ चलना तो हम नशी पर है, साथ
वाह,
चलना तो हम नशी पर है, और शादमानी मेरी जबी पर है, उसकी खुशबू यहीं कहीं पर है।
वाह,
शेरर्स
वाह,
बहुत मेहरबानी।
इरशाद।
इश्क रुस्वा फिरा है गलियों में, इश्क रुस्वा फिरा है गलियों में, हुस्न क्यों शोर आफरी पर है, हुस्न क्यों शोर आफरी पर है। और आखिरी शेर अर्ज करती हूँ कि याद कर लेना चाहे जब, याद घूम कर देख लेना चाहे जब, घूम कर देख लेना चाहे जब, तेरी सबा यहीं यहीं पर है, तेरी
वाह,
सबा यहीं पर है।
क्या बात है मैम, क्या बात है। वेरी नाइस, एंड आवर ऑडियंस इज आल्सो गोइंग वाह 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 फॉर यू।
बहुत
दिस इज
शुक्रिया।
ब्यूटीफुल।
जी जी। आपके ऑडियंस में अगर कोई आशिक है तो उसके लिए कुछ पेश करो।
मैम सभी हैं। सभी हैं,
अगर
आप बताइए, आप प्लीज सुनाइए।
जी, अगर कोई चाहत से रुस्वा है या जो चाहता है तो उसके लिए पेश करती हूँ। मेरी तरफ से आपके सब जो सुनने वाले हैं उनके लिए नजर है ये, कि तेरी चाहत कभी नहीं जाती, तेरी चाहत कभी नहीं जाती, ये हसीन दिल लगी नहीं जाती, ये
ओहो,
हसीन दिल लगी नहीं जाती। शेरर्स है, वो दरारें हैं इन सफीनों में, वो दरारें हैं इन सफीनों में, जिनमें बसकर नमी नहीं जाती, जिनमें
क्या
बसकर नमी नहीं जाती। You know those boats that sail and they get like those waterlogged, उनमें जब बसी हुई नमी वो रह जाती है, वो जाती नहीं।
वो जाती नहीं, वो कहीं नहीं जाती। वाह,
जी।
बहुत
अगला
खूब,
शेर
बहुत
आप,
खूब। जी
बहुत शुक्रिया, बहुत शुक्रिया श्वेता, आप बहुत प्यार से सुन रही हैं। और आपके सारे सुनने वालों के लिए मेरा अगला शेर, कि टूट कर उनको ऐसे चाहा है, टूट कर उनको ऐसा चाहा है, मद भरी आशिकी नहीं जाती।
क्या
मद
बात है।
भरी आशिकी नहीं जाती, और तेरी चाहत कभी नहीं जाती, ये हंसी दिल लगी नहीं जाती। और अगला शेर ये है जो शिवाली जी के लिए, अगर वो अभी है तो, तू
जी जी
ही तू,
बिल्कुल है।
जी, तू ही तू है मेरे तसव्वुर में शिवाली, तू ही तू है मेरे तसव्वुर में, मेरी ये बंदगी नहीं जाती,
क्या
मेरी ये
बात है।
बंदगी नहीं जाती। शुक्रिया।
वाह।
अब साकी को भी तो कुछ कहना है ना, तो
जी
साकियों के लिए है,
बिल्कुल।
कि साकिया अब पिला वही तलखी, साकिया अब पिला वही तलखी, अब तो आंखों से पी नहीं जाती, अब
क्या
तो
बात।
आंखों से पी नहीं जाती, और तेरी चाहत कभी नहीं जाती।
नहीं जाती।
आखिरी दो शेर हैं जी।
जी
यूं तो दुनिया में सब मयसर है, आई गॉट एवरीथिंग डूड, आई गॉट इट ऑल मैन। यूं
हम्म।
तो दुनिया में सब मयसर है, बस तुम्हारी कमी नहीं जाती,
नहीं जाती।
बस तुम्हारी कमी नहीं जाती।
बिल्कुल।
और मक्ता पेश कर रही हूँ आप सब की जानिब, कि एक मुद्दत से प्यास ठहरी है, एक मुद्दत से प्यास ठहरी है, क्यों सबा तश्नगी नहीं जाती, क्यों
क्या।
सबा तश्नगी।
बहुत 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 खूब मैम, बहुत खूब। We are just going gaga about this thing, like your ghazals and audience also. Everybody is like, "Oof, wow, shukriya, bahut खूब." They all are with all these comments and loving the way you are, uh, presenting them with your expressions, with your words, and of course, the whatever you have written is just beautiful.
थैंक
it's
यू
it's
सो
a bliss for us, that we are listening to you, and we are having this evening in our life where we are listening to all these wonderful ghazals that have been written by you. Thank you so much, ma'am. It's really a pleasure to listen to you.
Thank you so much all for having me. Story Scrapers, my love and blessings for higher boundaries for you to cross, higher pinnacles to scale. And I also want my friends to know that Punjabi मेरा शौक है, कि कोशिश कर रही हूँ पंजाबी नज़मां भी इकट्ठियां करा, कि तुहाडे
Please,
नाल साझियां। जी।
जी जी जरूर। और हम बिल्कुल नहीं चाहते हैं टू एंड दिस कॉन्वर्सेशन। इतनी अच्छी, इतनी मिठास वाली और इतनी खूबसूरत गजलें और पोम्स हमें सुनने को मिल रही हैं, बट ऑफ कोर्स वी हैव टू अबाइड बाय द क्लॉक, वी हैव टू सी दैट द क्लॉक इज ticking and we need to close it down. But it was really really wonderful talking to you, ma'am, and thank you so much for gracing our platform. And we really want that you come up with more and more ghazals, more poetry, more
जी।
prose, more novels, more books, and keep meeting us also here on Story Scrapers, and we can have more such talks in future as well. So
Thank you
thank you
for all
so
your
much.
duas. Thank you for your blessings and happy, happy tidings. Thank you very much. God bless.
Thank
Shabba
you so
khair.
much, ma'am. Thank
Salam,
you.
Sat
And
Shri Akal, Namaskar.
thank you to our lovely audience for connecting with us. It was
Yeah.
really great to have you here, talking to us, talking to Lily ma'am, appreciating her work and listening to her. Thank you so
I,
much for connecting with us.
I love
Thank
you
you.
all. I'll be answering your comments soon, God willing. Thank you, Shweta. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.